Hey guys, Roni here. It's Thursday and I'm running out of time. I'm having one of those, oh my gosh, it's already whatever time. Like right now, it's oh my gosh, it's already 2:30. I've been on the phone all morning and it's been kind of a crazy day. As you may know, I'm organizing the fit blogging conference again this year, and so I'm in full steam fit blogging mode. And knowing that between now and fit blogging weekend, which is May 20th and 21st in Baltimore, I'm going to give birth is scaring the heck out of me. I'm not going to lie. But my philosophy, I'm doing what I can when I can, the best I can. So, I had a lot of balls in the air, but I'm making it work. So, one of the balls is my weekly podcast, which I am here to record on time. Whether or not I actually get this up on the site today will be another story. I have a feeling it'll be a late night. Anyway, let's get started. The first question is from Sarah. And again, this is a newer question just from a few days ago. And then I'll go into the archives. I'm actually catching up rather quickly now. I feel like I'm soon going to run out of questions, maybe in the next 3 months or so, if I don't get any more. So, not that I want more questions, but if you do have a question, leave one. Maybe give me a couple weeks and then leave it. So that way I feel better about not being, I would like to be within this year. That's my goal. Anyway, so this is a new question. This one's from Sarah. And Sarah says, I don't know if you have answered this before, but how did you get started running, and had you ever run before? Thanks, Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Love this question. I love running questions. Purely for the fact that I don't still feel like a natural runner, and so the more people I can inspire to attempt to run, the happier I am. Alright, so here is my running story, and I have a post that I actually sent to Sarah that kind of outlines my kind of workout history post by post. It's kind of interesting because I adopted working out as a habit and a hobby after I started the blog. So you can see where I was before and actually follow along in posts of how I adopted the exercise habits that I've adopted, which I now feel a little bit like I'm losing while being pregnant, but the desire's still there, so I don't think it's going to go away. Alright, so my running history really starts as a child. I was told that I was a horrible runner as a child. I have a post called Just Pondering What People Have Told Me or something like that, where I actually talk about a story where I was made fun of at a young age for running funny, or slow or whatever it was, and it kind of stuck with me, and I just thought, I really grew up thinking, quote, I can't run. I can't run. I'm not a runner. I can't run. And I said this to myself my entire life. I mean, my whole life. And I remember going on vacation once with friends, and two of them were runners. And I remember looking at them like they had 10 heads. Like, what, you're going to go out running? What you guys crazy? Who runs on vacation? Like, I would make fun of them. And I just never understood the running culture. So that's kind of my prehistory. Okay, so I have Ryan. So about 6 years ago, I'm pregnant. I give birth. And then I start Weight Watchers, and I start losing the weight. And then probably about a year after getting my eating a little bit more under control and losing weight really through mostly diet, I started to get this itch, like I wanted to work out. It was weird. Like I was adopting good active habits, like I was going for walks, I was going on hikes, I was parking far away, I was taking the stairs, I was moving more, I was dancing around my house like a nut with my newborn. But I didn't go to the gym. I didn't run. I didn't own exercise equipment. I didn't do traditional exercises. And at this time, my little guy was probably about 2. I said, I feel like I need to do more. I feel like I'm maintaining this weight loss, but I'm missing a piece of the health puzzle, like the overall wellness Like, I wanted to feel better even still, not just look better, which I looked better, I lost weight, but something was still missing. It was kind of hard to explain. So I joined a local Y that had daycare. So and I actually had the husband going for a little bit, but not anymore. And I would go and do classes. I did step. I learned to appreciate a good step class. I started doing, they had Nautilus machines with this like computerized thing that would track your reps and stuff like that. So I started weightlifting with the Nautilus machines. And then I kept being really, really attracted to the free weight room and wanting so much to try it, but was just really, really scared. So I hired a personal trainer for 3 sessions, a woman. Her name was Anne. She moved on me. So she's no longer around. I'm very, very sad. And we kind of struck up a friendship and started working out together in the free weight room. And we would do free weights, and we started talking. And she convinced me to try my first spinning class, which I did. And I actually loved it, which was odd for me. And she says, you should run a 5K with me. And I was like, based on, you know, I defaultly said, I didn't even think twice, but I go, I can't run. I don't run. And she's like, you're pretty active. You realize that. You do step and you weight lift. And she's like, I bet you could do it. I'm like, I don't run. Sorry, I'm not a runner. I just don't run. I don't get it. Why would you run? It doesn't make sense. So a few weeks went by, and I found they set up a booth at the Y with running events. And the event that she wanted to run, they had a pamphlet. So I pick up the pamphlet, and I look at it, and I'm like, maybe I should give this a try. Like, okay, I'll do it. I'll sign up. So I signed up, and now I'm like, okay, now, I remember why I got the confidence to sign up. Because once I got the pamphlet, I went to their website, and I looked up the results of prior years' 5K events. And I immediately, I'm not going to lie, I scrolled all the way down to the bottom so I could see who came in last. Because I'm going to assume I'm going to be last because I'm not a runner. And I noticed times like 60 minutes, 62 minutes, 66 minutes. And I started doing the math in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. If I walk 20 minutes a mile, 20-minute mile, which is a stroll, really, it's just just walking at a regular pace, I could do this in 60 minutes. And I started thinking, and I'm like, okay, so if I walk the whole thing, I still would come up within the time frame that these people are finishing this race. So basically, I needed to be justified that I wouldn't be alone coming in last. And that, as sad as it is, gave me confidence to go, you know what, I can do this. So then I signed up. So then I thought, okay, I need to start training for this. So what I did was I went on to the treadmill, and they had a little 5K workout setting or whatever, and I have this post where I talk about this, and so I'll link to that one separately. But I clicked the little 5K button, and I pumped it up to like maybe 6 miles per hour, I think, and I started to do a little jog. And I had to slow down and walk quite a few times, maybe 3, 4, 5 times at least. But I remember being really excited because I ran through an entire song, like a 3-minute song, and I ran, and I kept the jogging pace up for those 3 minutes, and I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I think I finished it in like 36 minutes or something like that. And I remember telling Anne, okay, I'm ready for this. I signed up. I tried it on the treadmill. I know I can cover the distance, and I know I can do it within 60 minutes. And so I ran my first 5K. I ran a little bit outside to prepare myself for running outside, because at that time I never ran outside. And it was hard, and I struggled through that 5K, and I remember maybe about 2 miles in thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I took some walk breaks, and then I'm going to cry if I tell you this story. But then I'm in the last stretch, and I see the husband and the toddler, and I started crying, and see, now I'm crying. You guys think. But I crossed the finish line, and I did it. And that feeling, oh, wow. I cannot believe how emotional I'm getting. It's pregnancy hormones. No, but seriously, that feeling of crossing that finish line was just unforgettable. And now I'm a runner. Wow, I can't believe how emotional I get. Sorry, oh my gosh. Please. It's so bad. Soon this baby will come out and I'll be back to my normal sap self instead of overly sappy. But seriously, that is really how I started running. And it is really, really emotional for me. And it's something that I, since then I've run a marathon and a half marathon, a couple half marathons and a 10-miler. And I would have never, ever, ever thought that in a million years. So, if you're thinking about, that you're quote, quote, not a runner, you could be a runner. It is possible. You just need to find the right kind of motivation. So Sarah, I thank you for asking me that question and bringing me down memory lane, because running is really something that I do enjoy talking about, because I think I remember so vividly thinking that it was, stop crying, that it was an impossibility, and it really, and it wasn't, and it was really my own image of myself that was holding me back. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see myself as one, so I wasn't. Once I saw myself as one, I became one. So I think that's really, really powerful. And I'm going to move on the running question so I don't cry anymore. But great question, Sarah. I think that's a great question. And I hope that if you are thinking about learning how to run, there is the Couch to 5K program that actually... I haven't really made this announcement yet, but I'm going to be starting a Couch to 5K series for people who want to possibly run their first 5K at Fitblogging, or run it the same weekend as Fitblogging on their own. Of course, not everybody can make it to Fitblogging or want to come to Fitblogging because they're not bloggers. Sorry, I'm still wiping tears. So I will be starting a series of posts on fitblogging.com for those people, and I think it's going to be, it's March 13th, I think, would be exactly 9 weeks before Fitblogging weekend, and that's how long the program is. So I'll link to the program, and then of course we'll be giving updates on Roni's Way about the 5K, but for those people who really want to maybe consider taking up running, or thinking about running, start a program like that. Sign up for an event, a small, short event. That's one way I think you kind of get pushed into it, like I did. But just try to do a combination of walk, run. There's nothing that says runners have to run the whole time. And I think that was also, sorry, now I'm all disheveled. That was also something I think, starting on the treadmill and finding a pace, and then learning, and then finding a pace running outside, and not feeling like a failure because I couldn't run fast. That's a huge roadblock to get over when you're trying to adopt running as a sport and a hobby, is that you can't think of yourself as failing because you need to walk or run slower than some other people. You got it's very solo activity, and you're covering distance and you're tracking your time, and it's just fun. Just encapsulate it and have fun with it. You're getting me excited for running after this baby comes. Okay, I'm gonna move on now too. Sorry, and I promise I won't cry again. I'm try not to cry. Next question is from New York City Patty, who I read her blog on and off. I'm bad at keeping up with blogs, but I try to keep tabs on people who especially make an effort to reach out to me a lot. She wrote this in December, and I answered her privately, but I think it's just a quick question that I think a lot of people can benefit from. And so Patty says, I was on Greenlight Bites looking at your turkey spinach lasagna roll-ups and wondering how you keep your veggies fresh. You wrote your spinach was in a bag, and I was wondering which one. My veggies, especially lettuce and spinach, always tend to go bad quickly. Please help, Patty. Okay, so keeping vegetables, first of all, I will link to turkey spinach lasagna roll-ups, which is one of my favorite kind of quick recipes when I have a lasagna craving. And it's one that the husband will also eat, so that's good. But I buy bags of lettuce and greens and spinach and whatever. I find it's easier than buying them, you know, in a head. You know, I'm kind of I try to strike a balance between convenience and eating healthy, and buying bags of greens just is a huge lifesaver for me, especially when they're on sale, like 2 for $5 or something. I usually pack up 2, and you could freeze spinach, by the way. But yeah, they do tend to sometimes get slimy in the bag. I store them in the bags they come in. I don't buy any special green bags or anything like that. But my trick is to take one solo paper towel, and once I open the bag, I put a paper towel down the side of one, like leave it, like I don't ball it up. I actually leave it open and kind of slide it in the side. And that seems to help absorb some of the moisture within the bag, and it helps have the leaves not start to get that, like, you know how the tips get kind of wet and slimy? You know what I'm talking about? I think having the paper towel in there helps a little bit. And I just roll them up and clip them, or even just roll them up. And I also don't keep them in the drawers. I don't know. I don't keep them in the drawers because if I did, I would forget they existed. So I keep them on the shelves. So when I open my fridge, I see bag of spinach. And then it reminds me that I have spinach. And so I'm not sure if they'll stay fresher in the drawers or without, but, you know, mine usually, I mean, honestly, now that I'm shoving them in smoothies, and I use a bag of baby spinach as lettuce. So if I have a ham sandwich, I put baby spinach leaves on it. If I have a burger, I put baby spinach leaves on it. If I make a salad, I make it out of spinach leaves. I find it's like kind of my all-purpose green. If I want to put it in soups, I can cook it, I can freeze it, so spinach has become really my go-to green, and it's been that way for quite a few years now. I'm recently trying to adopt kale, and you might follow along on some of my kale adventures on Relay Bites. I started this past year trying to introduce kale into my family's, you know, daily diet, and it's kind of, it's not hit or miss. It's kind of hit or miss. You know, I actually can get the child to eat kale chips. You know, when you bake them, I'll link to that as well. It's going to be one of those posts where I have like a ton of links underneath the video. But if you do a search for kale on Greenlight Bites, you can see all my kale recipes. So anyway, Patty, that's my quick tip, is to put paper towel in with the bags of greens, and that may help. So this was supposed to be a quick question. I'm going to try to keep it that way. So me blabbering about greens. Okay. Next question. Oh, it's another quick one. Well, it's another short one. It's from Dale, and Dale says, really quickly, easily, what software do you use to record, edit, and post your videos? Well, I can tell you right now, I'm recording right on my computer. So I used to record on my, I don't have it right handy, but I used to record on my handheld, you know, digital camera, but I found that the amount of time and effort, and again, I know this question is more for the people who are interested in blogging than weight loss, but the time and effort to take the video from the camera to the computer, edit it, then I decided the quality wasn't worth it. I don't know. I mean, it's just my head talking to you. It's not like I'm trying to do special effects or animations or fly-ins or whatever. So quality, video quality doesn't really, I don't need to be in high def. You don't have to see every pimple on my face, right? I mean, really? So I record directly into what my webcam that's connected to my computer. I happen to be a Mac person, so I have what we call the eyesight, and that's what I'm looking at. And then I record directly into Mac's iMovie software. So literally right now I can see myself on my computer screen. So that way if I want to show you something like this Sharpie, I can, you know, show it to you and I can see that it's in frame. Which, while I'm doing Greenlight Bites videos, is invaluable, especially when you're recording with a 5-year-old who wants to see himself on his camera. I don't think recording without visual feedback would work with him. And then I do some very minor editing. I mean, I rarely edit, as you can tell. I keep all cryings and mistakes and fumbles and foibles in the videos. In a way, I do it on purpose. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm actually purposefully trying never to try to be perfect again, because that was probably a downfall in the first half of my life. And so if we mess up, or if I have to yell at him during a Greenlight Bites video or whatever, I leave it in, because I'm sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's the whole point. So I don't do editing. I mean, every once in a while the phone rings and I just think it's rude that I forgot to shut it off. Do that now. So I might do that, but even that, sometimes I leave in the phone ringing things. So basically I do some very, very minor editing. And then I literally export it from iMovie, and I now upload it into YouTube. I used to not be able to upload it into YouTube because I babble too much and my videos are too long. But they have since approved me to have longer videos. So I guess they realized that I'm not, pirating sitcom episodes or music videos or something like that. So I'm now allowed to post long videos. So I used to use a site called Vidler, and before that I used a site called Rever. So I basically have random videos all over the interweb. One day maybe I'll hire an intern that can collect them all down for me. But for now I just upload to YouTube. And so really that's all I use. It's really, really low tech and kind of raw. Even though I'm a technologist, I tend to take easy routes with things. So I hope that helps, Dale, and I will check out your site. You wrote this in December, so I'm curious if you're doing video posts or whether it's something that you're just thinking about. Okay. I'm still snuffling from my crying fest. Alright, next question is from Sandra. And Sandra has a long one here, so you're going to have to bear with me as I read it. And she congratulates me on my pregnancy, which is good. That means I'm within 8 months of answering her. So Sandra says, "Hi, Roni. First, congratulations on your pregnancy. Glad to see you are doing well. I have a slightly different question than what you've probably had before. Like you, about 5 years ago, I lost 50 pounds and have maintained 45 of those for 5 years. I'm physically active and watch what I eat. I've even attempted my first triathlon this past summer. Totally something I've been thinking about. I don't know, though. I'm kind of scared. Anyway, unfortunately, circumstances in my life over the last year really left me stressed out, and my health has taken a beating. I had shingles in February, shortly after finding out about my father-in-law's cancer diagnosis. Then had a reaction to the shingles medication and was left with a numb arm and pins and needles in my feet. Once I was feeling better, I got back on track and continued training for the triathlon. Then in May, I hit a car-sized pothole on a side road that put my car airborne for a couple of seconds and landed down hard. Luckily, I wasn't super high up, but it still left me with a sore neck. My neck was sore, and I was also experiencing jaw and head pain, which I had diagnosed about a year ago as TMJ issues. I'm not sure what TMJ is. But now it was much worse. Anxiety seemed to hit me full force. Anxiety seemed to hit me full force after successfully completing the triathlon, and I was put on an antidepressant to help. Fast forward, while this last year was hard, I was in a good place with my weight and never felt more fit. I was, however, burnt out. I am happy to say that the medication has helped me immensely with one exception. I have put on close to 15 pounds. I had read that antidepressants could create quite an appetite, and they weren't kidding. I am so frustrated. This is not who I've been for the last 5 years. I continue to run and bike and swim, but my appetite is taking me to higher and higher weights, and I need it to stop. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much. Sincerely, Sandra." Okay, Sandra, wow. First of all, what a year that you have had. And I think the fact that you have maintained your lifestyle and you still did a triathlon and all those things were going on, I mean, pat yourself on the back, take a deep breath, and relax. I mean, sometimes life gets really super crazy. And I think you're doing a fabulous job. This kind of question is really hard for me to answer because I'm Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a dietitian, but I also have heard that there are certain medications that can increase your appetite. What I would do in this situation, and again, what I try to do is kind of put myself in the same scenario. And if I was required to take medication that increased my appetite, I would probably, well, talk to my doctor first about just what options I had, whether or not the medication was absolutely necessary or if there was an alternative or something like that, and just let him know that this was a concern of mine, especially after losing weight. I'm finding that doctors are actually, at least recently, I've had some experience with doctors being a little bit more sensitive to the weight loss. When I brought up that I lost 70 pounds to my new OB, she was like, she was very sensitive about it, and she also was like, you know, is this something that we can talk about? I know that some people have gone through therapy, and like, she was it was kind of interesting to see. So I would maybe bridge the conversation with your doctor and tell him, first of all, your history with the weight loss, and maybe your food struggles and that kind of thing, and how you've overcome them, and that might give him a little bit of insight that he can advise you on. That being said, I'm kind of approaching your question as someone who has a lot of experience with just uncontrollable appetite. Being pregnant right now is I don't know if I can relate the two. It's probably not even relatable, but I definitely am one of those people that I feel like I have a very hearty appetite, more so than I feel like people that I know around me. Like, I seem to be the one that's still eating a lot of the time when everybody else is already done, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, what I found that works is to really, really look and don't fight. I was going to say, I changed my thought process there. Look for things that you can eat that doesn't require you fighting the appetite all the time. And I've talked about this before. There's a great book called Volumetrics that I reviewed like 3 years ago that talked really about the volume of your food and about how people sometimes require, it's not really calories that we get used to, the feeling of. You know, it's the volume. So if you eat a handful of raisins, for example, like let's say, I'm totally pulling numbers, so don't hold me to this. Let's say a handful of raisins is 200 calories, like a nice big handful of raisins, but it's only this amount, you know, versus, you know, I don't know, 3 pounds of grapes, which is this amount, right? Do you know what I mean? It's that even though, well, first of all, they're the same calories, right? So theoretically, I guess you could say, if you ate either one, you should be as satisfied on either one from a caloric perspective, right? You know, you consume 300 calories, you should. However, of course, and common sense tells you this, if you eat the 3 pounds, you know, like this is a massive amount, and there's natural waters in there, and the volume of the food is increased, you're going to feel fuller, right? You're going to feel more satisfied than a 300, I mean, this 300 little handful of something. Do you know what I mean? And this really comes down to just even my whole approach when I was losing weight, was that I learned how to bulk up my food. I call it bulking. I realized that, you know what, I'm the kind of person that likes to have a huge bowl of chili. like a little cup of chili. Not doing it. I want a honking bowl of chili, okay? And I want to be able to enjoy it and eat it for a really long time. So if I eat a bowl of traditional chili, that's full of, you know, 80% ground red meat and beans and nothing else, there's a lot of calories packed in that bowl of chili, right? But if I lighten my chili up with a couple of zucchinis and peppers and some chopped up spinach and tomatoes and all these like vegetables that add, so I had the same volume of chili, but now it's like half the calories. I learned really, that's how I started manipulating my food. And in my opinion, there's a lot of benefit to that. Like, I started eating a lot more fruits and vegetables just because of the nature that fruits and vegetables generally have more bulk for less calories. And I learned that one of my favorite vegetables in the summer is zucchini, because you can do anything you want with a zucchini, and it's mostly water, and it has almost barely any calories to it. But yet it can go in almost any dish. You could put it with pasta, you could put it in a chili, you could put it in soup, you can eat them alone, you can, I mean, really, zucchinis are awesome. But anyway, this idea of volume. So what I would do is don't succumb really to the appetite demons that you have, whether or not they're like driven from medication or other weird mental issues like I have. Don't fight them all the time. Just kind of channel them into eating bulkier foods that have less overall calories. I've said this multiple times, and I will say it again. I have been known to literally take an entire butternut squash, and I'm talking like a big. You've seen butternut squashes. You've seen them. You know, like the little. Cut it up into fry pieces, bake them, roast them, whatever. A little bit of kosher salt, a little spray, and eat the whole entire thing. That's a lot of food. Okay, meaning it's a lot. It's a lot of bulk. It's a lot of volume. But the whole butternut squash, like maybe 200 calories. So I figure it this way. This is the way the Roni brain works. I'm going to eat something. I almost need to. I'm not going to fight the urge. I want to eat something. Even though I'm not hungry, you know, traditionally, like, my stomach's not growling and I'm not hungry, but yet I want something. I can grab a bag of chips, or I can order a pizza, or I can get a donut. Or I can take the time to cut up that butternut squash, preheat the oven, enjoy the process almost of cutting it and cleaning it and whatever. Like, there's a process there. And while I'm actually preparing it, I'm already satisfying something in me. That's because I know I'm about to eat, so I'm not shoving things in my mouth really fast, right? Clean it, cut it, spray them, put the salt on it, bake them, wait the 35 minutes or however long, and then eat them. That whole process is ultimately more satisfying to me. And it seems, it's a lot of work, I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, it would be way easier for me to grab a bag of chips out of the pantry, and then eat the entire bag, because frankly, that's what I would do. Like, I'm not going to grab a bag of chips out of the pantry and take a handful and be satisfied, which would be the equivalent calories of what I just did, prepared this butternut squash fries. And again, this is just an example. Like, I do the same thing. I make pizzas on tortillas, or wraps with spinach and a couple slices of deli ham or something like that. The act of making something that's very volume filled, you know, it's a lot of bulk, getting the most out of my calorie buck. That's what I call it. More bang for my calorie buck, something like that. So I would, Sandra, don't try to fight it so much, but actually try to work with it and try to feed that appetite with things that really won't weigh you down. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's going to help. All I know is that I just went on a tangent about bulk eating for some reason. But that has really seriously helped me through the whole weight loss and maintenance thing. Is that I learned how to really bulk my food. So whether or not it'll be applicable to you, and I mean, again, I'm not going through the appetite increase due to medication, so I don't know. But it's worth a shot. So I would say talk to your doctor and do that. I was going to start another question, but I just realized that I just blabbered for 34 minutes. Or almost 34 minutes. So I don't think I have time to do this next question. I will save it for next week. But I hope I didn't babble too much in my crying fest. I'm a sap. I really gotta stop with the sap crying. The other day I cried at a commercial. I can't even watch, like, American Idol without crying anymore. It's really sad. I recognize this in myself. I'm owning it. I'm a crier, okay? I'm a crier. It's what I do. You know, I'm emotional. What can I say? Anyway, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching and putting up with my crying, and I will see you guys next week. I will talk to you soon. Bye.